Hello, and welcome to the introduction of the FARO Scan Localizer. My name is Cutter Shea, and I'm a sales engineer for FARO Technologies. You may be familiar that 3D documentation is an emerging industry standard for civil engineering, construction, industries such as oil and gas, and even architecture. One of the main challenges in registering multiple scans together is initial scan placement. When scanning indoors without the assistance of GPS, you can see here that scans, when initially loaded into the scene, are randomly stacked on top of each other in random orientation, which makes the registration process difficult for the software. Another problem compounding the initial scan placement is repetition and symmetry in design. As you can see from this 2D floor plan, many of these rooms are virtually identical, and if they were to be stacked on top of one another like the previous slide, it's very difficult for the software to recognize which room goes in which position. With a few creative ideas and the technology at hand, the developers at FARO Technologies decided that top view registration was the step to eliminate to creating a more efficient workflow. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the FARO Scan Localizer. Through the combined use of an inertia measurement unit and laser distance readings, the localizer is able to find itself in a two-dimensional indoor space. We have nicknamed this Indoor GPS. Through a recent firmware upgrade, many improvements have been made to the Scan Localizer. We have streamlined the connection with Wi-Fi. The localizer is now much more robust in its localizing and will maintain its position when tipped or held in non-vertical position. We've also made a new workflow that integrates seamlessly with your current field workflow, and we've also eliminated the need for an extra license of scene out in the field. Connecting the focus scanner to the scanned localizer is as simple as attaching it to the top of the localizer with 4 screws. There is a port connection allowing the focus scanner and localizer to communicate. As soon as the localizer is turned on, it starts emitting a Wi-Fi signal with a name corresponding to its serial number. With your portable laptop, Android smartphone, or Apple iPhone, you can connect to this Wi-Fi device through your web browser. Operating the scan localizer is simple as well. You want to carry the system in an upright orientation from the rear of the localizer. You can start the scan from either the Wi-Fi device or the scanner touchscreen. And the scanner rotates as usual, but the localizer remains fixed. And as you can see on the notes on the right, you want to keep the field of vision of the localizer's eye clear, and you also want to stand in the rear and hold the localizer from the rear. That way your body isn't blocking the view of the localizer laser. Here's a video in fast-forward, sped-up motion of connecting to the localizer, creating a new project, and then walking through a house and taking scans. As you can see, a small icon appeared in the middle of those rooms. That is a position where a scan was taken. As you can see, I'm walking through rooms now, allowing the localizer to see a room, create a 2D floor plan. I scan from the scanner touchscreen and then proceed to my next scanning position. This is the view that you would see from either your smartphone or your laptop. When finished scanning your area, it's easy to transfer the data. Localizer data is tagged to individual scans on the SD card, so once finished scanning, you pull the SD card from the scanner, insert it into your PC, and process within scene. So, as I had shown at the beginning of this presentation, this is about 13 scans of my house that were non-localized, and as you can see, when loaded into scene, they were stacked on top of each other in random orientation. This random orientation necessitates a top view registration, which takes a two-dimensional slice looking at the floor plans, aligns similar features, and is thought of as a rough registration with loose accuracy, but is necessary in getting the scans in their approximate locations. What you can see here are localized scans of my house, and as you can see, they have populated in their approximate location, and this looks like a poorly registered point cloud. However, there has been zero registration done, and this is all just the population of the scans within scene with their given localized data. Again, this is a top view of just the localized scans. So you can see that the room in the upper right corner is a little off kilter, and you can also see the middle room on the left side has the same effect going on, where the two scans aren't perfectly overlapped. But to finish and create an accurate unified point cloud, simply go directly to cloud registration, and you can snap immediately to a high accuracy point cloud. So that's how the scan localizer is used. Let me share some of the specifications. The localizer in some of my personal tests has an accuracy of plus or minus 2 inches. And along with that, there is an angular tolerance as well, but I have been unable to measure that. The localizer itself has approximately a 100-foot range, and anything beyond that is unseen by the localizer. The battery life is approximately 3 hours, just a bit shorter than the focus scanner, so we recommend, if going out into the field, to carry a second battery. The localizer also weighs a similar weight to the scanner at approximately 13.5 pounds. And depending on your Wi-Fi environment, I have gotten as far as 60 feet away from the localizer and maintained my Wi-Fi connection. Now, some of the requirements for the localizer are that you need Scene 6.0 or newer. The localizer currently will only work with our Focus S120, X30, X130, or X330. However, our brand new S series scanners are waiting on a adapter so that the localizer and new S series scanners can be mated together. Now, after connecting through Wi-Fi with your portable device, you must go through the internet browsers Chrome, Firefox, or Safari for Apple. Browsing through Internet Explorer coming soon. Another requirement for owning the Scan Localizer is to be a member of FARO's Early Adopter Program. The FARO Early Adopter Program is meant for heavy users, enthusiastic customers, or technical critics who are willing to take on and test new technology. To apply, please visit faro.com/early adopter. One of the limitations of the Scan Localizer is that it can be used only on one level at a time. Should you finish your single level of scanning, save the current clusters of scans, break your Wi-Fi connection, take some non-localized scans between floors, that way you have overlapping and connecting data. Then, when you're up on your next level, connect to the localizer, start a new cluster, and continue scanning as normal. Later on in the scene, the two different clusters of scans can be brought together in a unified point cloud. Another one of the limitations of the scan localizer is that it is indoor recommended. The localizer itself was designed for indoor use, and it depends heavily on enclosured landmarks. Now, I have seen some customers take the localizer outside, and they've had some slight success, but it is limited by range and feature proximity. So I feel that I must recommend again that the localizer be used indoor, but there is limited use and limited success for outdoor use. The Scan Localizer also has a secondary auxiliary option known as the floor planner. Using just the localizer without a scanner attached to the top, one is able to walk through an area and immediately create a 2D floor plan which can be saved and archived for future use. When opened up later, measurements can be taken and the floor plan can be exported as a JPEG, PNG, TIFF, or other picture file. So, to wrap up this presentation, by the elimination of the top view registration, confidence from real-time floor maps and real-time scan positions gives you the confidence back in the office to know that registration will go smoothly and that the stress and headaches of a difficult registration are a thing of the past. Thank you very much for joining me for this brief Scan Localizer introduction. Have a great day.